Good morning and assalamu alaikum. It is 10 o'clock, 22nd of September, and you're listening to Inspire FM 105.1 FM. I'm your host this morning, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 11 o'clock on the Urban Cube show. I hope you're well, winning and thriving wherever you're listening in from this morning, be that on Inspire FM, on our Facebook page, because we are live on Facebook. You can catch all the action and the conversations on our Facebook page, or you might be listening in from us on Salam Radio. Massive big salams to you, or Peterborough's Salam Radio and Sheffield's Link FM. Let me get that right. It's a wonderful morning this morning. I'm really getting the autumn vibes. I'm feeling it in the air, and I'm actually smelling it as well. I love autumn. It's definitely my favorite season. I had a wonderful walk around Wardown Park yesterday. The chestnuts were on the ground, and I'm just thinking, gosh, this is definitely a lovely energy and lovely vibe. I think it's the colours of autumn that I absolutely adore. Tell me how you're keeping this morning. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and you're having a great start to the week. Now, as always, you can get in contact with us on the show this morning on 07779 481822. Now, the Urban Cube is a show that we just celebrate creative conversations with local creatives who are near to us in the town of Luton or national. Today, my guest is a local creative. You can actually see her on Facebook Live, and she is with us all the way till 11 o'clock this morning. And we're also going to have the pleasure of some live poetry as well. That's my favorite thing in the world, poetry. But to start off the show, I wanted to kind of make a point of saying International Day of Peace was marked on Inspire FM. You may have seen posts around peace on our Facebook page, but it's on the 21st of September, and this day is dedicated to world peace. And the purpose of it, which is a holiday sanctioned by the United Nations, is to look at specifically the absence of war and violence, and look at ceasefire in combat zones for humanitarian aid and the access of that. This day was established in 1981 and first observed in September 1982. So peace is the topic that we're going to be discussing, and we're going to look at how peace and poetry can be combined. We're also going to look at poetry in the community and the impact of that. And with me this morning, I am joined by an absolutely amazing creative who is used her words to make such a difference to those that know her and those that don't. I'm talking about no other than the absolutely extraordinary Naz Knight. She's in the studio with me. It's an absolute pleasure to be in her company. She is Bedfordshire's poetry champion, and she is doing some phenomenal work, which we are going to find out about. She is working on some extraordinary projects like the LTFC projects. She's also engaged with the Employability Hub, and she's part of the Young Poet Laureate program. I'm going to be in conversation with Naz this morning to talk about some of the phenomenal work that I'm going to go into a little bit more depth with you as well. Naz is somebody who has just made such a difference in so many people's life and really made an impact around poetry in the community. She is the poetry champion for Bedfordshire. She's a poet in residence at LTFC, and it's an absolute pleasure to have her here in the studio this morning. How poetry can help us uplift, inspire, and bring people together. Good morning, Naz.
Good morning, Shemiza. Wonderful to be here. What an introduction. Oh my gosh.
But you know what? It's only a tiny bit in reflection of what you've done. And I am going to go into a little bit more detail, but I know that you're a humble soul, and you'll be able to explain some of the amazing creative journeys that you've had with us on the show. But once again, thank you so much for having you join me on the Urban Cube show this morning. Naz, how are you this morning? That's the first question.
Oh, I'm great. It's absolutely wonderful to be here. It's great to see you again. It's been such a long time since we've been able to sit down and chat like this. So it's great. It's autumn. It's Nine Red's 22nd birthday, and I'm
Wow.
absolutely happy.
Fabulous, and that's another wonderful exploration to kind of talk about as well. It is the 22nd birthday, the 22nd anniversary of your organization.
Yeah.
Tell us what your organization is to those people who are not familiar.
Okay, so Nine Red presents, it's Luton's longest serving CIC. So we started in 2003. Wow. The reason we started was literally just to respond to the needs of our local community, for, you know, kind of fill some of the gaps. We started as a group of sort of like victims of crime that needed a way, I was gonna say, a way to heal that wasn't what was available at that time. And especially during that time, we were told what we needed rather than being able to say, well, actually, I need this, or, you know, and there wasn't a lot of high hopes as well. Like, people kind of expected, okay, if you've been a victim, you can no longer thrive, you're not going to amount to much. So, you know, the investment really just isn't in you anyway for much of anywhere. And what it was is like, we were professional women, we had professional qualifications, some were doctors, some were lawyers, some were accountants, you know, teachers, educators, healers, you know, and we were just like, well, we know what we need. And we kind of came together and created a program to heal using art, using more poetry and theatre than visual art, you know, and that's quite common. People know painting, pottery, these sorts of things, how they heal. But like words convey your emotions. Words create physical manifestations in other people. Words like people say, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. That's not right. Think about the response you have to words, what happens within your body when you hear certain things, how they make you feel. And as much as nothing outside of you should be allowed to disturb your peace, and you should guard your peace, these things permeate, especially when they're coming at you all the time. And we were just like, change the narrative. Let's just change the narrative of who we are. It's not about whether we're labeled as victims or survivors. It's about who you believe we are, who you believe we can be, and what you believe we can do. And we were just like thinking, you combine counselling, artistic pursuits, and skill attainment, it gives people back their worth, their inherent value. And it's words that create their world. If I say to you, you can be anything you dream of, you will go out and do that. If I tell you you are worthless, then you will believe that. Words have that power to change a person's soul, a person's spirit.
Indeed.
And that's how we began.
Wow. What a legacy, 22 years on, and you're still standing strong with that vision that words are powerful, and they are indeed. Folks, if you're listening in, you are joined by no other than Naz Knight, my guest this morning, and we're going to have some amazing conversations around the power of words. Wow. When was it the first time you realized, Naz, that words were powerful?
Oh, I've always known that words were powerful. Like, okay, in the Caribbean community, we know how to read by the age of 3. Yeah. So walking, I'm writing stories before I can hold a pen, before I can, in my mind, I was always, you know, okay, so we used to walk from my house. I lived in Sundon Park, and we used to walk down to the train station, and we used to walk through the Pink and White Alley and through Spinney Woods and across the fields. And that world was like magic to me. And it was like how I was in my mind imagining little fairy folk and the elementals, and you know, and it was like I started to see shapes and patterns in words, like how words were similar to different words, and how like earth and heart, for example, you know, like just how you play with the words, one becomes another thing, and it changes the meaning, but it doesn't change the meaning, it adds to the meaning, you know. And it was like, so when I was in school now learning to read, I already knew how to read, so I was able to like pick the words, pick and see the patterns, and be able to like be you to the full. That's what makes you beautiful. That's why that's that word, you know. Why lovely sounds elevating, and lonely sounds isolating, and the only letter that's changed is one. Do you see what I mean? And it was that. And so that was as I'm learning to read like in English. So okay, we have Caribbean folk stories, we grow up like that, yeah. So now I'm learning a different culture, a different language, and so I'm seeing the patterns, because we, like at home, my parents come from different islands, so I have St Kitts English, I have Antiguan English, and we have the Queen's English, because that's how the islands are raised. So as I'm here, it's like I'm learning that now from England. It's another layer to that language, and I'm decoding it as I'm learning it, because I can feel it moving through me. I can feel the energy of the words, you know, like Dr. Mito, if I pronounce that right, the Japanese doctor, who does the experiment with words, where he speaks to water, freezes them, so you can see the beautiful shapes and the beautiful patterns. Water is conscious, you can program it. So when you say words and freeze them, it creates beautiful patterns. If it's an ugly word like evil, it's an incoherent, ugly shape. If it's a word like love, like harmony, yeah, it creates these beautiful snowflakes, and each one individual and reflects themselves, you see? So it's I started to understand and learn about cymatic frequencies, and you know what it meant, and that words are sound waves, and you can see the power that sound does. So therefore, sound with intention, which is what a word is, just a sound with an intention, is obviously going to manifest something in your world, in your brain, in your mind.
I'm just quite taken aback by this energy that you are reflecting through the power of words, because I'm actually seeing words as pictures now, just
Yes,
observing
that was
you.
my reality. Do you see?
Just observing you, and this beautiful connection that you've been able to relate with words, you're bringing to the community now in some of these amazing projects that you're doing. And one particular project is with Luton Town FC,
Yes.
which is Luton Town Football Club, who have been so remarkable in achieving what they've been able to achieve, and to actually connect poetry in a football club. That sounds quite unique and a little bit mismatched as well.
Not really.
No, that's
What is a chant?
Interesting. Tell me more.
A football chant.
Mhm.
What is a football chant if not a poem? A poem is not. Okay, so one of the things with poetry together, so I'm allowed to say this, Giles
Yes.
Brandreth wants to move away from the middle class idea of poetry. So that's why I'm saying this, yeah? We're moving away from the middle class idea of poetry. What is a poem if not just a dynamic expression of emotion? What else is it but that? A text is a poem if you want it to be, right? So what is a football chant? What is a football chant if not a poem? Do you see where I'm coming from?
You make it very pretty. When we think of poetry, we think of prettiness, softness, but it has different levels. You can have kind of angst as well in poetry. So thank you for kind of defining that a chant is also can be poetic.
Well, of course.
And this is what I'm learning.
It's words.
It's words.
It's words.
Okay.
What is a song if it's not a poem put to music? What is the verse in a greeting card if it is not a poem in a greeting card? Yes, everything is poetry. Everything. The past is a poem because it is the collection of our passions and what we have survived. And then we write it in a crystallized perfume of that experience. Yeah. Anything we say to each other is a poem if it is the expression of our emotion. Okay.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, folks listening in, you can fully understand why why Naz Knight is a poetry champion for Bedfordshire. I've never heard anybody show this much level of passion, and it comes so naturally to you. This is who she is. Now, I want to ask you, being a poet in residence for Luton Town FC, how has that experience been for you, and how did that come about?
Oh my gosh, it's been an absolute phenomenal experience. How did it come about? I saw the application and I applied.
Wonderful.
But I'm going to be honest. The reason why I mentioned that I saw the application and I applied is because I'm trying to say to people, if you see an application, apply. Yeah.
Definitely.
My whole thing was when I saw like literally it posted what the eligibility criteria and all of that was like, oh, I'm not good enough. Yeah, that was the first thing. I'm not good enough. And then
they're words. You're planting these words in your head.
In my own head, I'm not good enough. You know, that's what, you know, because that's what comes at us. Yeah. And I was like, you know, there's going to be, it's a national campaign. There's 6 poets in residence across the nation. And I was like, the competition is going to be really high. I'm this like little no-name person from Luton, you know, not really, you know, I don't know, kind of recognized or seen as a poet, or like, you know, and why would I be successful? And that was, I spent most of the time talking myself out of it. And then it was literally, you know, that you got to be in it to win it. So that was it. I sent off the application and I applied.
Well
And
done
I
you.
was just literally like, what's the worst that can happen? You know, we're artists. We deal with rejection. I understand rejection. Rejection is probably something I can deal with easier than anything else. So I goes, if I get rejected again, I get rejected again. But it doesn't affect who I am. It doesn't take away the person that I am. It doesn't say I'm not good enough. I'm saying I'm not good enough. And so I applied. And yeah, I got the job. And I was blown away because I was just like, wow, like this is a national organization and they recognize me as a poet, like someone who, people who are absolute strangers to me are seeing my value and are seeing my worth that I couldn't even see in myself. And you know, even when I had the interview, I was hiding in the seat. I wanted to be anywhere but in that room because I still felt, you know, I shouldn't be here, like somebody else should be, you know. It was very, yeah. So I'm just like, basically I'm saying to people, yeah, you're good enough. Yeah. You know, even if you say in your mind you're not good enough, you are good enough. You inherently are.
And this is a celebration. You're a Black woman who is a poet in residence for Luton Town FC. If that isn't a celebration, then what is?
Well, I tell you,
that's a win.
It's been phenomenal. I'm going to be honest with you. Like I have I'm going to be honest with you, like it scared me because I was just like, you know, I'm this one, yeah, I'm the like female anyway is going to make me scrutinized in a game like football,
of course.
And you know, it's not, you know, it has its own culture that I am having to come into, and how am I going to do this? Like I was very like, you know, oh wow, everything kind of hit me. And then like I was like 6 workshops. I do workshops. I can go in and I do workshops, and we had, it's been a phenomenal journey. Like we did the first one we did with the over 50s club. We did poetry bingo. It was on BBC, yeah. And then we did Carnival of Colour with one of the schools, went on BBC. We had to do those 2 in that one day, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you know. And once that was my kind of baptism of fire. These like 2 workshops back to back with like all the pressure of it going out on the news, like the lunchtime news and the evening news, and how am I going to come across and what's going to look like. And even when I was being interviewed, she was just like, oh, just tell me, make up a poem on the spot. And I'm just, you know, and it was that. And I think once I got through that and I was like, I did that, and then I was able to kind of like relax into it, you know. Then we did the workshop with Ability Counts, and it was just like, they were just so full of energy and passion, and it was just, oh my gosh, you know, it was so great. And then we went into the schools and that kind of elevated it all, and it was just like, wow, like there is these phenomenal voices with like phenomenal talent, really, because it's just like you're going in there, you're with them for 45 minutes to an hour and a half, and they're coming out with these fully formed poetry, like, and their voice is like that they've been able to like
release it.
Yeah, you know, it was just like absolutely phenomenal. And you know, now we have this like finished piece that's been made by all these participants that have been involved, and you can feel their energy, you can feel their emotion. And that's why I say the poem is a chant. So when you hear it, you'll understand when I say like football and poetry, they go hand in hand, because people chant words from the stadium. Do you know what I mean? And they rhyme, right?
Yes, they do. They do.
Yeah. So why would those 2 things be so different when they're actually the same? You know, the poem that we've created for Luton Town Football Club, it can be a final performance theatre piece, or it can be chanted from the terrace.
So is that what's going to happen?
the celebratory event on the 18th. Well, we're provisionally, because everything has to be signed off and approved and all of the rest of those sorts of things.
So is this a bit of an exclusive we're having on the show today?
Oh yeah, I guess so. I guess so. We finally finished the poem on the 18th of September.
Oh, wow.
So this is how fresh and brand new that it is. It's gone out for approval. So it's written by all of the Supporters Trust, the Community Trust, various different schools and the community groups that we went out into.
Okay.
It all came together at the final workshop on Thursday. So we created it, and then it's gone over for approval. And then it is to be performed at a celebratory event at a match day in Luton. And most likely the Luton Mansfield match on the 18th of October, but that may change because obviously everything has to be approved and all of the rest of it. But that will be the celebratory event when it will be performed for the first time.
Well, folks, you heard it on the Urban Cube at 10:20. Naz Knight, who is the poet in residence at LTFC, Luton Town Football Club, talking about the amazing community piece that's going to be performed or chanted at Luton Town FC's match very, very soon. How exciting. Thank you for sharing that. I feel quite humbled that I got to hear it first from you, Naz. That's amazing. Naz, how's that experience been with the poetry workshops and the community coming together? And what has the feedback been from local schools?
Oh, well.
And the community?
Well, across Bedfordshire, it's been great. We get a lot of response because at the moment we have the National Literacy Trust is running another poetry project. This one started actually in the north, and it was piloted there in Bradford, and now it's coming down here. The National Literacy Trust, it's the Young Poet Laureate program, and literally this one we're going into the schools. They get a 45-minute assembly. Yeah. And it's part of the trying to not just improve literacy, but it's also about showing what poetry can do, the opportunities that exist in poetry, and it's to help develop the next poet laureate. And so we're reaching out across Bedfordshire. We would love more Luton schools to actually register because this is a wonderful opportunity. It is free, yeah. As long as you sign up, that makes you eligible. There is a conference on the 30th of September, like a teacher's briefing, where you can find out more about what the project will entail and all of those details. Again, that project was launched on the 18th of September. So it is it's new. But it is about showing what great voices we have amongst our young people, what opportunities they can have to use that voice, and obviously to participate in this Young Poet Laureate program, because it's about finding the next generation and moving them on and moving them through. It's the start of something, it's been piloted. And now and one of the things that makes me proud, it's come from the north down, rather than something coming up from London. It's been an incredible pilot, and now it's turned into this national project. And I think it's a wonderul opportunity for anyone that's in a school.
Would you have a website or any?
I think if they email me at naz@wordschoseme.com.
Naz@wordschoseme.com. And that's a line that really resonates with me every time. When the first time I heard you say that, words chose me, I remember hearing you say that, and that really was quite a powerful thing to say. And I love the fact that you've called it your that's your email.
Yeah, so. that's the website. That is the Poetry Champion of Bedfordshire's website. Words chose me.
Amazing.
Yeah, but it's not me as in Deborah Knight, Naz Knight. It's me as the person who is saying it. The words, if you allow, they will create your word. You see the energy, that's the words. They're sound waves. That's energy. It's moving through me and coming out,
Amazing. Folks, you are listening to Naz Night on the Urban Cube Show. The time is 10:24. We are going to be heading to a break. After the break, we're going to have another exclusive. Naz is going to be performing a poetry piece on the show. If you've got any questions to find out a little bit more about what Naz does, about this poet, her poet in residence role at Luton Town FC, please do WhatsApp us on 07779 481 822. Now, Naz, after the break, you're going to be performing a piece for us. What's the piece going to be called?
Where Peace Begins.
Oh, I love that. Where Peace Begins. And it sits so nicely with today's show because we are also going to be talking about what does peace mean. So that's really fitting. And 34 seconds to the break. Naz, what does peace mean to you? Describe it in maybe one word.
It begins inside and it's sacred.
Oh,
it's you'll hear about what my definition of peace is when I do my poem after the break.
It begins inside. That's really, really quite powerful. It does. I do resonate with that. I think that's a really beautiful reflection. We are going to head to the break, folks. Don't go away. Come back and we'll be speaking more with Naz. Assalamu alaikum.
This program will continue after the break. Continue listening to Inspire FM. Inspire FM.
Inspire 105.1 FM.
Assalamu alaikum, this is your brother Raheem Jung.
My name is Shamshid Zaman.
My name is Shahid Quest.
My name is Chris Nichols.
My name is Fahad Matin.
Nasima Ayub.
Hi, it's Ollie Martins.
My name's Sergeant Perry.
Castle Dave Taylor.
My name is Riyadh.
My name is Peter Adams.
I am Sandra Glenn.
My name is Rob.
My name is Suleiman.
My name is Sufyan Sadiq.
My name is Imran Khan.
My name is Mushtaq Koyes. You're listening to Inspire FM 105.1 FM.
Assalamu alaikum, sis. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm not very good. I'm finding it very difficult to find a rishta for my son.
Have you looked into rishta networking? It's a halal atmosphere where you can find the right spouse for your child. Alhamdulillah, I found a rishta for my daughter through one of their events.
Wow, alhamdulillah. How does it work?
So, you have a brief timed introduction, about 5 minutes long, where you get to talk to different candidates and see if they're a perfect match.
Alhamdulillah, this sounds great. How can I book?
You'll have to be quick, sis. Spaces are limited. And the next event's on the 26th of September at Crescent Hall. You can book through their website at rishta-networking.co.uk.
Jazakallah khair, sis. You've helped me so much.
Greystone Solicitors are committed to protecting your rights and fighting your corner to ensure you get the best possible results. Specialising in immigration matters, employment issues, family matters, personal injury, medical negligence, civil litigation and housing. Need help with your immigration problem? Greystone Solicitors provide free immigration drop-in clinics every Friday. Call Greystone Solicitors today on 01582 343 453 or visit us at 275 Dunstable Road, Luton, LU4 8BS and begin your journey towards justice today.
And when we ask Allah, Allah allows us indeed, and He requires from us that we do whatever He has placed within our capacity to do to achieve what we believe is beneficial.
Westbourne फार्मेसी हफ्ते के 7 दिन सुबह 9 बजे से लेकर रात 9 बजे तक खुली रहती है। हमारी सर्विसेज में शामिल हैं ट्रैवल वैक्सीनेशंस, स्टॉप स्मोकिंग, डायबिटीज चेक, बच्चों की ग़िज़ा और बहुत कुछ। लुटन और डंस्टेबल में फ्री प्रिस्क्रिप्शन, पिकअप और डिलीवरी सर्विसेज भी की जाती है। इसके अलावा आप मेडिसिन के इस्तेमाल के लिए फ्री मशवरा भी ले सकते हैं। वेस्टबोर्न फार्मेसी 198 B Dunstable Road, Luton, corner of Westbourne Road. Telephone 01582 419 432.
Are you ready to embark on a journey of purpose and impact? The East of England Ambulance Service is recruiting now. Are you seeking training in a new career or looking for a challenge in development? Start your career for life with East. Apply now for roles in frontline emergency operations, control rooms, support services and non-emergency transport. Visit www.eastamb.nhs.uk and click Join the Team. Make a real difference. Join the East of England Ambulance Service and start your career for life.
इस्लामी नुक्ता निगाह से इल्मी और फिक्री मौज़ूआत का जायजा, इस्लाम की इंसानियत साज़ तालीमात का ख्याल अफरोज़ तज़किरा, रवादारी और बक़ाए बामी क़ज़ामिन, फ़िक्र व नज़र की तत्हीर और अखलाकी बालीदगी पर मबनी मौज़ूआत पर ताक़ीकी गुफ्तगू व आला हालात और माहौल के तकाजों के मुताबिक समाजी इस्लाह का दामन सुनते रहिए और सवालात पूछिए इंस्पायर FM पर प्रोग्राम सदाए तकदीर हर बुध दिन 11 बजे प्रोफेसर मसूद अख्तर हजारी के साथ।
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 10:30.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Cube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for staying with me on the second part of the Urban Cube show, where I'm having some wonderful conversations with no other than poetry champion for Bedfordshire and poet in residence for Luton Town FC, Naz Knight, who today is with us all the way up to 11 o'clock. And it's a double win because today they mark the 22nd anniversary of her organisation, and we also got a bit of an exclusive around this wonderful poetry piece with Luton Town FC as well, and we're going to be hearing more about that. Today's show is about poetry in the community and the value and importance of that, and how poetry can help us uplift, inspire, and bring people together. We're also talking about peace and what peace means to us, because on the 21st of September was International Peace Day, marked by the United Nations. And I always like to bring these days onto my show and kind of explore their value in our day-to-day lives as well. And who better to do that with no other than Naz Knight, who is the poetry champion for Bedfordshire. Welcome, Naz. Thank you so much for staying with us and being such a wonderful light in the studio. I've been so inspired by you, and I'm sure our listeners in Luton surrounding areas, Peterborough's Salam Radio and Sheffield's Link FM will agree with me too.
Thank you.
Naz, tell me more. Oh my goodness. Before the show, before we went to the break, we were talking about you performing a piece.
Mm-hmm.
And the piece is about peace. How fitting. So I'm just going to roll the mic over to you and get you to talk to us a little bit more about this poetry that you're going to be sharing with us on Inspire FM this morning.
Okay, so this poem is called Where Peace Begins. And it's where peace begins for me. It's where I come from. It's what I feel peace is. So yeah, it's called Where Peace Begins. Peace doesn't start in the halls of power, not in the kingdom, the court, or the tower. It starts in the chest, where the heart beats clear, in the breath we guard, in the soul we steer. Hold it close, let no shadow take it. Your inner calm, don't let the world break it. Sacred flame in the storm it burns, teaching the restless earth to turn. A smile to a stranger, a pure release, a nod, a blessing, may your day know peace. That ripple travels, unseen but it stays, a light in the dark, it softens the maze. See, we are not powerless, never too small. A wish, a word can dismantle the wall. When you live unshaken, the world takes cues. Peace in me becomes peace in you. So keep that stillness, don't let it fall. Guard your spirit, it can handle it all. For the cause of peace is your living song, and each gentle act helps the world belong. One heart steady, one smile true. Peace breaks open, it carries through. Seed by seed, the change appears, a world rebuilt beyond the fear. And it starts in silence and then grows in sound. Inner peace loops whilst the globe turns round.
Thank you, Naz. What a beautiful poetry piece that you've shared with us this morning. It was an absolute pleasure listening to you, and so many words in there that I could really resonate with. But I kind of want to hear from you the inspiration behind it and how it came about.
Okay, so strength comes from peace. Whatever the world throws at you, if you can keep your inner calm within that storm, if you can weather it, what you see stays peaceful. What you see doesn't impact you as hard because everything you need is within you. Peace, love, joy, clarity. You have desires, but you desire them in order to feel joy, love, peace. And that is yours. It's your gift. No one can take it from you unless you give it away. And if you're able to hold on to your peace, then it's easier for you to have a smile for a stranger. It's easy for you, even when everything around you is chaos, for you to stay still and to offer a word of reassurance rather than a word of conflict. You know, if something frustrates you, you can hold your inner calm within that storm so that you can still thrive. You can still grow. You can fall into that inner stillness and you can get an inspired thought, an inspired word, an inspired action. And for me, the way I feel that peace turns around is very simple. If I maintain my inner peace, regardless of how my day is going, I'm more pleasurable to other people and they travel that wave. How many times if somebody's got out the wrong side of the bed, they've been grumpy to you then become grumpy, you're grumpy to somebody else, and so therefore it spreads. And I can stop that simply
Indeed.
by not reacting to what is outside of me that's making me frustrated, by still having a smile. And then that person feels good. And then they smile. And if you're in a shop, every single person that shopkeeper therefore serves, they will smile. And so for the wave of peace travels and travels. It's not about you having my opinion or I having your opinion. It's not even about us agreeing. It's about me recognizing you as a human being have an inherent value and inherent worth, and that you're valuable and that you deserve unconditional love, regardless of what the circumstances or anything else is. And if everyone was on that wavelength, then how peaceful would the world be?
Indeed. Some beautiful, wise words. Thank you, Naz. And it's so simple, isn't it? It's so simple. And we forget that. And as a Muslim, one thing that I embrace is something called something like as simple as smiling is sunnah, which is rewarded. You smile, it's charitable. It's charity. Smiling is charity. And I always embrace that. And I honestly do believe our actions have a triple effect, and it could either make someone's day or break someone's day. And we do need to take responsibility for our actions. Now, you're in a really precious position, Naz, as the poet in residence at Luton Town FC, especially in light of what we're seeing across the country, where a lot of peace has been broken. People are feeling very unsettled. People are feeling very anxious and nervous. And you know what I'm referring to. It is obviously the English flag, the way it's been reclaimed and represented, creating fear and animosity and hostility amongst communities. What would you say to that, and how do you view that?
Okay, so I grew up in the 1980s, and it's a shame to see it return.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's okay. So for me, it's sport. Okay, I grew up in the 1980s. I was an athlete, and there was nothing that any of us non-white athletes wanted was to win a gold medal and wrap ourselves in the England flag, because the only time that we are ever English is if we were running for our country, playing a sport for our country, and so those that we see, because you have role models. Then we had Linford Christie, Kelly Holmes,
Yes.
Colin, oh my gosh, I can't remember, the 400-meter hurdlist, he was from Wales, and there was this feeling of the pride when they won and were wrapped in this flag. And I'm holding on to that because that happened in the backdrop of the flags. So if there is some people who want to claim the flag in the way they wish to claim their flag, that's them. That's not us. That's not we. Yeah. We decide what our flag means collectively. It's not down to any one person to say this flag means not you. Yeah. And that was the reason why, I wanted to be an athlete so much. More than anything, my driving force was just one day wrap myself in that flag so I can say, I'm English. This is me. And I'm proud to wrap this flag round me. Flags represent so many things, so many things.
Now there is obviously, when people see that flag, they get scared.
Of course. We lived through that in the 80s. It's terrifying what it means and what
could escalate from that.
And I think this is the time for conversation. This is the time for understanding. This is the time for tolerance. And fear, actions out of fear are only ever going to be divisive. Love is always going to be a bridge. It's always going to keep the world turning. I can understand that
Do you think your role now as the poet in residence at Luton Town FC has made you feel that you've got a greater responsibility in light of what we've seen in the last couple of weeks? Because there is this association with this negative behaviour and football hooliganism, and you're in this space. So do you think you could re-educate and you could...
See, if you're in the workshops, you'd know that's already being done.
Wonderful.
We have these conversations about our cultures, our histories, our backgrounds. The poem is about Luton Town, not about the football club. It is about the football club in the sense it's Luton Town Football Club, but it is in Luton Town with its diversity, with its multiculturalism. I am a Black female poet in residence at Luton Town Football Club.
That's phenomenal.
How on earth could it not? How could I not be in that space to express the voices and to encourage the voices to come through? I have had the most beautiful journey with these people. I have had these incredible conversations that have led into so many different places. I can't independently change people's minds and change the world, but I can speak my truth and I can allow other people to speak their truth. And that is what this poem was written for. It was written for and by the people of Luton to celebrate Luton with all its diversity, with all its people, with all that we are, with the history that we have had, which has had all kinds of fractious divisions. We've had race riots, we've had all kinds of upheavals. We have always come together as a town. Many people say Luton, it's like any other town. Luton is not like any other town. Luton is a place of unity when it is allowed to thrive. People come together. When we go to school, we learn each other's cultures. We grow up side by side. You go to the gym, you go to the pub, you go wherever, and you meet everyone and you are open. Well, most people are open to understanding other people's cultures, other people's points of view, where they are from, how it is different, why it is different, and they want to explore it and have passion in this. The voices of the people who are being negative about immigration is not the largest voice. It is the one that we see the most because it's news. But in the heart of this town, in the heart of it, we have unity, we have love, we have a passion to bring people together. This is a town where if you fall down, someone will help you up. They're not going to look at your passport first. They don't care what your accent is or your skin color. They will help up a fellow human being. That is what we grow here. That is who we are here. This is what we celebrate here. The fact that we are a heart filled with people, a town filled with people with hearts of gold. Look how many community organizations we have. Look how many community champions, community leaders we have born here, doing projects right here. They don't make the news. These ways that we are coming together, the ways that we stand side by side, they don't always get featured all over social media, because that is about what makes you angry, to keep you engaged. They don't talk about the lovey-dovey, oh, this person went round to their neighbor and took them food. This person, he's been taken in, this family, because they were homeless. This is Luton. This is the Luton that people don't see. They slag us off. They call us the worst town in England, but they don't see our grassroots. We have love here. This is the town where love lives. So yes, people can be intimidating. They can try to make us feel fear, but the spirit of who we are will not bend. It will not break. We are like bamboo. We bend with the winds, like trees, like flowers in the storms. And then we take that rain, we take that wind, and then the sun shines and we grow stronger. That's Luton. And that's what we need to remember when we are faced with all that we faced. We've survived this in the 80s and we will come through it now.
Words of strength, words of wisdom. Naz Knight in the studio with me this morning on the Urban Cube Show. It is 10:46 and it's an absolute pleasure to have Naz here. She is the poet in residence for Luton Town FC. She's also the champion of poetry for Bedfordshire. So many accolades to her name and absolutely deserves each one of them, describing so much love for the town that is Luton. Luton is a town of love, and it sure is. And it really gives me so much hope that we will come through this, because there is fear, Naz. There is a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of, especially for the Muslim community, because they are the target by these demonstrations, and we need to feel the strength of unity. We want to feel that we belong in this town. And when I listen to you, I do feel that this place is home. So thank you for that. And I hope it's kind of makes anybody listening in feel, might be feeling a little bit down and thinking, oh, do I want to be here? Because this thing that everybody, like, go back to where you belong is a predominant thing that's said. And one thing that made me giggle in the riots was the fact that after the demonstration, there was a number of people that were seen getting food, and the food was samosas and chaat and Asian culinary. And it just, like, food brings people together. And I think that just a simple meal with people sat around, it could be as simple as that. Could we break the fear or break the lack of understanding by a meal and a get together with people? I would like to think so. Is that me just being a little bit simple?
It's a beautiful idea and a beautiful thought. And I think those are the ones that are important that we focus on. I think it's more important to focus on the fact that we can come together rather than focus too much on the how because sometimes the way finds its way when you focus on the outcome being positive rather than close down, because that's what they want. It's to make you insular. It's to make you go inside yourself. It's to make you feel less worth. And I feel as a Black woman, I defy that. Why my existence does not need to be proven to be of value, and nobody should be made to feel in fear. And I understand how real fear can be, especially when there's violence of the kind. But we can't allow ourselves to be intimidated by thugs and people who want to hurt. We have to remember love is more powerful, and it does never fail. Sometimes it takes some time. Like there's a song, Sam Cooke, you know, a change is coming, a change is coming, you know, like in our culture, like African American. So it's like the change is going to come. And sometimes when what is thrown at us, you kind of think, when is this change? When is this change going to come? But the change starts with all of us. It starts with all of us finding strength, finding resilience. But it's also about finding comfort and compassion in each other, in each other's communities, in each other's religions, in each other's world. It's about that blending of who we are, because if you're in Luton, you are Luton. That's it. There is no other if and buts or maybe. There is only one human being species. There is not multiple species of human beings. There is one, and we are interconnected, and all the colours are necessary, otherwise they would not exist. We are here. We have evolved together. Without any one part, it is not complete. We need everyone and everything. It's what makes us grow. It's what makes us evolve. And it's what makes us who we are. And it's that is important.
Indeed it is. And so is your role in poetry and bringing people together, uniting people together as the champion poet of Bedfordshire.
Well, it's not really that. The poetry champion isn't the champion poet. It's the poet that is championing for poetry. It's about creating opportunities for poets to be able to raise their voice, to be seen, to be highlighted, having this opportunity to be seen in places they wouldn't ordinarily be able to be seen.
And so this brings me nicely on to the Young Poet Laureate programme and other opportunities, poetry opportunities. One is the Ballad of Bedfordshire and the Poetry Together campaign. What are they, Naz?
Okay, so this puts the Poetry Champion in context now. So the Poetry Together campaign is a campaign run by Giles Brandreth. He's spearheaded by him, and it's about bringing generations together to celebrate poetry, using poetry as a bridge. And so what he has is he has poetry champions for the Poetry Together project in various different counties throughout. And their role is to do everything they can to raise the awareness of poetry, what can be done with poetry, to start to bring people together to create opportunities for poets, so that if you think comedy clubs, it's that kind of idea, poetry being on that kind of level, so it can be entertainment, so that we can have employed poets, you know, so that, like, not big employed poets, you know, like as a regular job, but it provides work for them because they're able to perform in clubs, because they're able to do more things. They're able to not just go out into schools, but for their poetry to be used as a vehicle for campaigning, for raising awareness, for healing. Poetry as a form of healing is used in so many different industries. So many different organizations have it. You know, there's a National Association for Poetry Therapists, which is international because they're in America. You know, but the whole idea with Poetry Together, they have the competition. Proud of Luton, we had three of the 8 finalists. So we had 2 winners, 6 runners up, 3 runners up came from Luton, 2 in the
Amazing.
senior category, 1 in the under 16 category. And that's really what the Poetry Together campaign is. It's like those that want to be able to be part of the competition, there's workshops that you can come in. We have grandparents with their grandchildren. We have their grand friends with neighbors. So they're just like, you know, it's whoever, and they're working together to create poetry. They can then submit it to the National Poetry Together competition. And like I said, we had 3 winners. The prize ceremony, so like they all were awarded a £200 book voucher for being a runner-up, and they will be presented on the 23rd of November in Wardown House at one of the Poetry Together workshops, where we're working on the Ballad of Bedfordshire 2025. So the one thing is we wanted to raise awareness for as many poets as possible. So by rolling it over and have a different group of poets create each year, it raises the profile, is to raise the profile. So all these little projects is about finding opportunities, bringing opportunities together so that poets can climb, so that poetry can be seen as the vehicle for healing, the vehicle for growth, the vehicle for understanding. So it's about that. The Poetry Together campaign is to bridge the gaps between cultures, between religions, between ages, between genders. It's about bringing people together using poetry.
Amazing. Is there a website, or
you can go to the poetrytogether.com.
Poetrytogether.com, a wonderful vehicle of bringing people together through the beauty of words. Thank you so much, Naz, for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolute treat. Thank you, folks, for listening in, and we will be with you again same time next week. Assalamu alaikum.